Good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, my mouth's feeling a little bit better today, guys, so we can have a story time today. I mentioned about the story about the homeland and feds and police and all of that stuff the other day and asked if y'all wanted to hear about it, and y'all said y'all did, so figured today while we're on a little drive, I'll go ahead and talk about it a little bit. So whenever we went on the cruise, we went 2 days before the cruise and spent a little time in New Orleans. And I got my truck valet parked because we got a room downtown and parking was at a premium and very hard to find parking, especially for a truck this size. So I decided to go ahead and do valet parking. Well, I needed to get a bunch of stuff out of my truck for valet parking because I do carry around a pew-pew with me at most times, and I had one of those in the truck, so I took it out of the truck and put it in my book bag, and then we went on about the weekend and had a blast in New Orleans. I've been to New Orleans a few times now, and that was by far the best time that I've had in New Orleans. The weather was good. It wasn't hot and muggy and all of that. So had a pretty good time there in New Orleans. Hung out a little bit with everybody, and we had a couple of really good dinners and all of that. Well, fast forward 2 days for the morning of that we were supposed to go on the cruise. It was a hectic morning trying to get everybody on the same page, get everybody to the place where the boat was and all of that other stuff. And I had quite a few people riding with me. And then we also had Pops driving himself with his scooters and all kinds of stuff there. And it was just hectic. I was getting pulled in 19 different directions. So I packed up, got everything loaded up, and we went to the port to get on the ship. And then when Pops got there, we had some issues with his lift, with the scooter and just all kinds of stuff. And I ended up finally getting his scooter and everything kind of taken care of. And then I had Levi drive his car to the handicap parking and then meet us back there. And with all of the confusion and all of the stuff that was going on that morning with rushing around and trying to make sure everybody made it on time and loading everybody's stuff up in my truck, I forgot that I took my pew-pew out of my truck and put it in my book bag. So whenever we was waiting on Levi to get back, Pops went ahead and went inside because it was cold out. And Levi had all of his documentation in his car, and we couldn't even get to Pops to give him his documentation, and they wouldn't let us past a certain point. And so that turned into a whole cluster thing or whatever. It took about 20 minutes for us to finally get him to go in to get Pops and get him out there so we could give him his passport and all of that other stuff. So in my brain, I wasn't even thinking about my own stuff at all. I was just trying to get all of that situated. And well, we finally get all that sorted, meet up with Pops. We start going through all the security checks, getting our passports checked and kind of all of that stuff. And we start going through the metal detector, and I go through with no problem, put my hands up. They wanted me and all of that other stuff. But then I noticed they stopped my bag. And next thing you know, there was people coming from everywhere. And then I heard them say pew-pew. And I was like, oh, instantly I remembered that I had my pew-pew in my book bag. And I told them, I said, there's a really good chance there's one in there. And I told them I was sorry and all of that. Explained the situation. And yeah, I got flagged and I got escorted back to the back. And then from there, it turned into about a 3-hour ordeal. I didn't know if I was going to catch a charge. I didn't know if I was going to make the trip. I didn't know anything. And to start out with, it wasn't too pleasant. It was kind of crazy, to be honest. I ended up having to get the pew ran through all the systems for federal, for homeland, for local, for Port Authority, through all of that. And also myself, I had to get cleared to make sure that I wasn't on any list or had any record or anything like that, and was actually illegal to have it, and a whole lot of things. And each department had to clear me, so it was a long process. So I went through all of that, but come to find out, the head of Port Authority was actually a subscriber of mine. So hello, how are you? And then when we figured that out, it was cool. They was really nice. We talked about the animals and all the projects and all that stuff while we was waiting on all the clearances to come back from everywhere. And then and I also had to go through the ship security as well. Honestly, that one ended up being the most difficult one out of all of them, that they tried to delay for a long time, because while I was in there, somebody else had something in their luggage as well, one of those, but that one was checked in a check bag, and that person was already on the boat, so they had to go find that person on the boat. They had his bag in the office there with me, and then I had to wait for them to get him and to come all the way back. And the boat security was trying to wait until he got cleared too before they let me on the boat. And luckily the Port Authority supervisor was like, no, he's been here, you know, for 2.5 hours, and he's already went through all of his clearing. There's no reason for him to have to sit here and wait for that whole process again with somebody else that has nothing to do with him. And Levi was there with me the whole time, and I was hungry. Levi was hungry. I was tired, embarrassed, because like I told them, at the end of the day, it's my responsibility. It don't matter how it happened and all that other stuff. It's my responsibility to remember and all of that. So I took full ownership of everything. And once I got cleared, they actually escorted me back to my truck, and I was able to secure it in my truck and actually get on the boat. But for a while there, I didn't know exactly what was going to happen, how that worked out, if I was going to get fined, if I was going to get a charge, if I was going to any of that. It was an interesting way to start my trip, to say the least, and scary as well. I don't normally make mistakes like that, and it was definitely a big one, and I definitely learned my lesson for sure. But now I know the procedure and all of that, and thankfully no charges, no nothing. I made the ship and all of that, but it was scary. It was definitely scary to say the least. Oh, and another thing, they couldn't get my pew to cycle. You know, it was jammed as well, because it's one that just sets in my truck all the time, and I haven't even used it in a very, very long time, and apparently it needs to be cleaned because it didn't rack and unload properly. So I actually have to get it took apart and all of that and clean it. So that was a whole ordeal too. So watching them try to get it cleared and everything was a whole ordeal. So yeah, it was an interesting way to start the trip. I didn't know, like I said, if I was going to get detained. I didn't know, what kind of charges go along with that and all of that. But the thing is they say that it happens just about every day on every ship, and they said it's more rare for it not to happen than it is to happen. So they was efficient as you can be with all of that, because like I said, they had to do background checks, they had to And like each department had to do background checks. So it wasn't like you just do one check and you're done. Literally, it was local, had to clear me, then Port Authority had to clear me, and then I think Homeland, and then Federal, and then also the ship had to clear me. So it was like 4 different entities that I had to go through to get cleared, and my name ran, and it was an extensive background check for sure, which I wasn't worried about any of that because I legally possess that. I actually have licenses and stuff for that, and I have a clean record, completely squeaky clean. So I wasn't really worried about all of that. It was just the matter of going through the process and all of that. And I was worried about I was going to get charged with something, and then I wouldn't have a clean record anymore. So, but yeah. So I wasn't worried about the checks and the background checks. That was just a matter of just waiting for everything to kind of come through and everything like that. But it was really cool to meet my subscriber there in the middle of all of that. Kind of embarrassing for me, for sure. But she was really, really nice. And it's such a small world, you know. So if you're watching, thank you for being so kind and helping me with all the process. And I'm definitely apologetic for dropping the ball on that, to say the least. Yeah. But it all started with valet parking because I wanted to clear my truck when I got valeted parking, and honestly just forgot that I had it in my book bag. Just 100%. It was my fault for sure, and definitely a little embarrassing, and yeah, I take full ownership of that. So yeah, that happened. So that's the way my vacation started on the cruise, and it was definitely unique to say the least. It was I'll never forget it, I promise you that. All right, well, I'll give y'all a view here in a minute, just to kind of show y'all. It's 75 degrees today here, guys. It's hot a little bit. Beautiful day. As you can see, there's no more snow. Well, hopefully y'all's Monday has started amazing. I will be going live tonight on Homesteading, so make sure that you go and check that out. I know me and Levi Pinky promised about going live sometime this week, but with everybody getting sick and then Levi leaving early and all of that, I broke the Pinky promise. And I'm gonna blame Levi. Nah, it's my fault. But I am going live tonight, guys, so make sure that you go over to Homesteading at 6 o'clock Central Time and check me out. I feel like it's been a minute since I went live. It's been a couple of weeks because I couldn't go live on the boat because we didn't have Wi-Fi that was any good. So I miss you guys. I want to catch up. So hopefully y'all are having a good week. Hopefully y'all are taking steps to get closer to your goals, doing something nice for somebody. Hopefully you're keeping it real though. Come on.